What if the reason you can't fall asleep, can't stay focused, feel chronically anxious, and wake up exhausted every single morning has almost nothing to do with your habits and everything to do with one mineral your body is burning through faster than you can replace it? I'm not talking about some obscure supplement you've never heard of. I'm talking about magnesium, but not just any magnesium deficiency story. What's coming out of research right now in 2026 is pointing to something far more specific and far more alarming. The interaction between chronic psychological stress and magnesium wasting, a vicious cycle that most doctors still aren't testing for, and almost nobody is talking about in the way it deserves. Let's break this down completely, because once you understand what's actually happening inside your cells during a stress response, you're never going to look at your supplement stack the same way again. Here's the mechanism, and it is genuinely wild. When your body experiences stress, whether that's a deadline, a difficult conversation, poor sleep, or even intense exercise, your adrenal glands release cortisol and adrenaline. That's normal. That's the stress response doing its job. But here's what most people don't know. That same stress response dramatically accelerates magnesium excretion through your urine. Your kidneys essentially flush magnesium out of your system as part of the sympathetic nervous system cascade. And the cruel irony, magnesium is one of the primary regulators of your stress response. It keeps your HPA axis, your hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, from going into overdrive. So when stress depletes your magnesium, your stress response becomes harder to regulate, which causes more stress, which depletes more magnesium. You are caught in a biochemical loop that compounds over time, and most people have no idea it's happening. Now here's where it gets even more interesting, especially for anyone who thinks they're eating a clean diet and probably fine. Soil mineral depletion is not a new conversation, but the data coming out of agricultural and nutritional analysis in recent years is genuinely disturbing. The magnesium content in leafy greens, nuts, seeds, and whole grains, the foods we've always been told are rich sources, has declined between 30 and 50% compared to what those same foods contained in the mid-20th century. Intensive farming, monocropping, and the use of phosphate-heavy fertilizers have stripped topsoil of the mineral complexity it used to have. This means even someone eating a textbook perfect whole foods diet is likely getting significantly less magnesium from food than they think. When you layer that on top of chronic stress-induced magnesium wasting, you start to understand why subclinical magnesium deficiency may be one of the most widespread and underdiagnosed conditions in the modern world. And the symptoms are so easy to misattribute: muscle cramps, restless legs, poor sleep quality, heightened anxiety, brain fog, irregular heartbeat, constipation, migraines. Every single one of these has magnesium deficiency as a plausible underlying contributor, and yet most people are prescribed medications for these symptoms without anyone ever running a proper assessment of their intracellular magnesium status. The standard serum magnesium test that your doctor orders is notoriously unreliable. Only about 1% of your body's magnesium is in your blood. Your body will pull magnesium from your bones and soft tissue to keep serum levels looking normal on a lab panel long after your cellular reserves are depleted. If you want accurate data, you need a red blood cell magnesium test, sometimes called an RBC magnesium test, and even that has limitations. So what do you actually do about this? The biohacking answer here isn't just to grab any magnesium supplement off the shelf, because form matters enormously. Magnesium oxide, which is the most common form in cheap supplements, has notoriously poor bioavailability, somewhere around 4% absorption. What you want to look at are forms like magnesium glycinate, which is highly bioavailable and calming to the nervous system, making it excellent for sleep and anxiety. Magnesium threonate is particularly interesting for cognitive function because it's one of the only forms shown to cross the blood-brain barrier effectively and increase magnesium levels in cerebrospinal fluid. For people dealing with muscle recovery and physical stress, magnesium malate tends to perform well. Dosing is individual, but most research points to 300 to 400 milligrams of elemental magnesium per day as a reasonable therapeutic range for adults under chronic stress. Splitting that dose, some in the morning, more in the evening, tends to improve tolerance and absorption. And yes, taking it with food reduces the risk of the one real side effect worth mentioning, which is digestive upset at higher doses. Beyond supplementation, the stress loop itself has to be addressed, otherwise you're essentially trying to fill a bucket that has a hole in it. This is where practices like breathwork, cold exposure, and structured recovery protocols show up in the research as genuinely relevant, not because they're trendy, but because they measurably shift your autonomic nervous system toward parasympathetic tone, which reduces cortisol output and therefore reduces magnesium wasting. The biohacking approach isn't just taking more minerals, it's building a physiological environment where your body can actually hold on to the minerals it needs. The bottom line here is this: if you are living any version of a modern, high-demand life, and almost all of us are, you are almost certainly under more mineral stress than your body can keep up with through diet alone. The stress magnesium depletion cycle is real, it's measurable, and it has downstream consequences for your sleep, your mood, your cognition, your cardiovascular health, and your long-term resilience. This is one of those foundational issues that once you fix it, makes everything else you're doing for your health work better. If you want to go deeper on this, including a full breakdown of how to interpret your RBC magnesium results, which brands and products I'm currently using, and how to stack magnesium with other minerals like potassium and boron for synergistic effect, I cover all of that in detail in my newsletter. Go to the link in the description right now and get on the list. It's free, it goes out every week, and it's where I share the research and protocols that don't make it into the videos. Don't let this be another thing you mean to follow up on. The link is right below this video. Go subscribe.